go to a leukemia ward in a hospital. And let's meet a 12-year-old boy. As many of you may know, cancer patients undergoing a medical treatment are facing severe side effects. One of the most unpleasant side effects is an inflammation of mouth, throat, gullet, and windpipe. So let's meet this boy, and he's telling us that he has severe problems with this issue, even cannot swallow or can't eat. So together with my clown colleague, I was there, and we thought, okay, what can we do? Let's find some body parts which he could take in or take out, however his situation is. And he was so cool because he took up this idea and said, hey, you clowns, you always have these long balloons. How about making some cooling windpipe and cooling esophagus and so on. And we created a really nice situation, building out a huge anti-inflammation mandala made out of 10, 12 balloons, and then sticking it to his wall and leaving the room. We said, let's do an extra feature. This one will give you a cooling impulse every time you have some pain or sore, whatever, and hopefully it will help. So, 1 week later, when we came back, it was funny because the story is somehow spreading through the hospital and some people asking us about the boy. And when we came back to the leukemia ward, the boy's caretaking nurse asked, what did you do with this boy? For 2 or 3 days, I tried everything to do to help him, but it didn't work. And after 15 minutes we have been there, he was completely pain-free, he was able to eat again, and he remained stable for the rest of the week under these circumstances. So what did we do? I don't know. But I thought about this situation, and this boy was teaching me 3 very, very important things. The one is, prioritize your actions. Always identify what is the most important thing on a given point in space and time to do. The second thing is, look for the resilience. Try to figure out how you can address a person's ability to overcome a crisis situation. And the third one was always try to figure out what resources does a person have. And if the resources are not enough in a given moment, then you can add some satellites, so objects from the outside, in this case the balloons, and invite the child to take it into a system as a resource. Well, a couple of months later, I was asked by colleagues to join Clowns Without Borders and go for a mission to Georgia to visit refugee camps and play a clown show for children. And what attracted my attention a lot, that Clowns Without Borders is an idea of children. It started in 1993 in Barcelona, when students asked Hotel Poltrona, this wonderful man and famous Spanish clown, if he's able and willing to go to the war-torn Balkans to visit children and play for them. And the students collected the money in their school by themselves and enabled Hotel and his colleagues to go to play the first clown shows in Istrian Peninsula. Just the fact and the figure, out of this idea of the children, a worldwide organization came out, up to now visiting 4 million people, children, in over 100 countries of the world. So, flying to Georgia, I thought about, okay, what are the priorities in a refugee camp? And how can you address resources and resilience people living there? And it immediately got clear, the most important thing in a refugee camp is hope. People affected by crisis situation, for them, hope, the principle of hope, is abundant for them. United Nations statistics know that wherever in this world a refugee camp is set up, it will last for 15 to 20 years. And the community workers working in these camps, they know that people never start to live there. They just wait and hope. Addressing resilience and resources, we found out that the best thing to do is just to address very basic needs. Issues of trust, respect, and friendship. The power of humor and also a strong role of women due to the fact that in many societies the role models between men and women are not so well balanced. The issues, coming out is tremendously. Wherever we visit children repeatedly, they know the names of the clowns, they know the show, they know the music and they know the tricks. So we can witness that they take it as a deep and long-lasting resource and get some hope out of it. So, going for a second mission to India, we decided to have a more intense contact with the children and also provide workshops. And then I stood there in Dharavi, second largest slum of the world in Mumbai, trying to do some workshop with the kids, and it did not work at all because it was a complete mess and chaos. So I went to community workers and said, what can I do with them? And they said, yes sir, no problem. Just shout at them. I said, okay. Shout at them. This was sort of an unexpected answer, but I gave it a try and it worked. And this was really interesting, and I was thinking about the situation. I found out one thing I was really missing. I did not understand, and I could not address the natural situation of the children. Because Indian street children really living a life under tough conditions, focusing and shifting attention every second. So if you want to deal with them, then you really have to be loud and quick. So shouting at them didn't mean anything, doesn't have anything to do being harsh or mean. It was just the appropriate way to get their attention. So coming out of this situation, we managed that to play our show then, and the community workers were deeply astonished that we managed to, that the children were sitting there for 45 minutes and watching our show. And they said it's for itself a major achievement, because they never thought that this ever would be possible. So in this interdependent learning process, the Indian street children taught us how to play our show in Indian street children style, and also always to be aware of the natural environment of a child. Well, let's go back to the hospitals and meet an 8-year-old girl. And she's standing in front of us and, okay, you clowns, today I come with you, and I'm so curious, I want to know everything about this clown business. And I said, okay, let's give it a try. So we did an arrangement. We said one of us is doing, because we're always playing in couples, one of us will play with you and do some improvisation with the children, and the other one give you sort of coaching, give you some advice for technical aspect, or tell you how we deal with the children. And after we did several rooms with her, and we're leaving the ward, gave her a nose, and said, just continue. Enjoy yourself, have fun with the kids, clown around. And next week, we're coming back. She was discharged of the ward, and the nurses said, come in, come in. She wrote a card. And on this card was written, thanks to the medical staff, and also say a warm hello to the clowns. And I hope I was able to cure many other kids while clowning with them. And this was a really mind-blowing moment for me, because she took it to a complete other level. And what she taught to me in this very moment is never to limit my actions or my thinking. And also, she taught to me that in many moments, it's good not to decide an action or situation. Sometimes it's better to act like a facilitator and leave the decision to the child how to transform a given information or moment. So, learning and learning and learning, taking all these together, I've been in October to Turkish-Syrian border, together with 2 colleagues, teaching workshops for Syrian psychologists and community workers living in Aleppo and northern parts of Syria. And what we tried is to figure out several days how to adapt our European workshop exercises, games and stuff like this for children in war. Because they go back and they work with these children there. And the outcome, feedback and suggestions of the psychologists were really amazing and very surprising very often. For example, they said hierarchy games are extremely important. First I explained the hierarchy game. You have 2 persons on stage. One is the king, demanding whatever he wants, and the other one is the servant, and he has to go and fulfill all these requirements. And the psychologists told us that it's so important because children in war have to learn to obey again. Because raising in a completely anarchic environment, they stop to listen to anybody. And this, listening to somebody, can be a life-saving issue. For example, if the barrel bomb helicopters appear on the sky. And they also said these hierarchy games are so important due to the fact that how a child reacts in this game, it may reveal hidden parts of his biography that the community workers may be not able to know. And so they can address the children's needs better. Another little example is that they also said games which address behavior are very important, especially if they address bad behavior, because children in war tend to cut off any bad behavior of their lives and tend to be super positive. And so they lose inner natural value systems. A clown colleague from the US was giving a talk on the World Band's Culture Club, talk like today. And in the discussion after the talk, a woman stood up in the audience and said she's in her 30s. She originally comes from Croatia, and she raised in a refugee camp. And she was 12 years old when she and her girlfriend were eyewitnesses of the very first clown visits that Hotel Patrona and his colleagues did. And what she told was very touching. She said, for years to come, thinking on the day the clowns came, it was like a holiday, and it was stored deep in the calendar of their hearts. So what I see from this wonderful statement is wherever you meet a person who is in kind of hell on earth, give it a try to bring a little bit of heaven on earth back for them, because they will never forget it. And to do so, I can just give you 2 suggestions. The one is, always have a clear focus, what is your job and where does it end? And the second one is, take care of yourself. Always be aware of your own resources and treat yourself well. And then, give it a try. And if you fail, it's not a problem, because failure is always a chance to learn. So if you learn, then try again and fail better. Thank you.